So this question says the graph of gx is equals to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx. A cubic function having a y-intercept of 0 is drawn below. Now, the x-coordinates of the turning point of G are -1 and 2. Now, the first question asks us that for which value of x will G increase? And before we answer this, let's talk a little bit about how we find the values that increase and decrease for a cubic function or any function whatsoever. We will say if your graph is moving up from left to right, it is increasing. And if it is moving down, also from left to right, it is decreasing. So if this is a cubic function, we can say that this part of our graph and this part of our graph would be increasing. However, this part of our graph would be decreasing. So let's say we label them. So let's call this A, B, C, and D. So our graph is increasing from the x-coordinate of A to the x-coordinate of B. It is also increasing from the x-coordinate of C to the x-coordinate of D. Now the decreasing part is from the x-coordinate of B down to the x-coordinate of C. So putting this at the back of your mind, now we can see our graph is increasing from this point up to that point. Now they happen to be the turning point and we're giving the x-coordinates of our turning point. So our graph is increasing from -1 to 2. So how we just write it down would be, or you could write it like this. And that will be your answer. So this question here says write down the x-coordinate of the point of inflection of G. Your point of inflection is the midway point between your two turning points. So what we can write down is, so therefore the x value of our point of inflection will just be 1/2. That's it. So this question says, for which values of x will the graph be concave down? Now to answer this, you need to understand the concept of concavity. So let's go through that real quick. So a cubic function is normally comprised of two parabolas, one positive, one negative. Now, the negative side is literally called concave down. The positive side is called concave up. So the one drawn in red is your concave down, then the concave up. So the positive side here is your concave up, and there you have it to be your concave down. The point in which you change from concave up to concave down or vice versa is normally called your point of inflection. So now let's say this point of inflection here is A. So let's call this A. And you want to get what is the concave down of this positive cubic function. Now we would say that concave down is everything before A. Concave down for this could be represented as x is less than A. Now for this one here, it will be x is greater than A because concave up is after the x-coordinate of our A. The same thing would also happen to this one over here. For a negative graph, everything before your A is concave up, so we can represent it as x is less than A, and everything after here is represented as x is greater than A because that's concave down. Now let's use this information to try to answer our question. So the question again says, for which values of x will G be concave down? So now let's go back to our graph. Now the point of inflection is somewhere around here, which is half. The concave down for this graph would be after our point of inflection, which represents this part of our graph. So all we just need to write down is x is greater than half. So our answer would be, and that's it. So the next question says, if g prime x is equals to negative x squared plus 6x plus 12, determine the equation of g. From the original question, we were told that gx is equals to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx. Now, if we differentiate this as it is, this would give us 3x squared plus 2bx plus c. To find your a, your b, your c, all we just need to do is take them individually. So I'm going to say that this part is equals to that part over there. And that helps me find my value for a. So doing that real quick, I would have, and to get b, I will take that part over there and that part over there. So that will give me. And finally, to get c, I'm just going to say that this should be equals to that. So therefore, the original equation for g would be, and the equation for gx would be equals to negative 2x cubed plus 3x squared plus 12x. That's it. So this question says determine the equation of the tangent to g that has a maximum gradient. Write your answers in form of y is equals to mx plus c. We have the equation of gx, which is negative 2x cubed plus 3x squared plus 12x. We also have the derivative of gx, which is negative 6x squared plus 6x plus 12. Now, there is one keyword in this question. The question here says maximum gradient. Now, gradient they're talking about over here actually means your derivative. The derivative of your function is also the same thing as the gradient. But they don't just want the gradient, they want what is the maximum value of your gradient. Now, if you go back to the curve, this graph here is negative, and it is going to create a negative derivative, which would look like this. The x coordinates of our turning point becomes our new x-intercepts. So meaning that this here is negative 1 and this here is 2. Now, our point of inflection was 1 over 2 here. That becomes our new turning point for our derivative, or in this case, our gradient, which is 1 over 2. So as you can see, since this is a negative graph normally has a maximum value. And the maximum value for this would be x is equals to 1 over 2. We are going to use x is equals to 1 over 2 as the x value that helps us find our tangent. Back to our question, we understand that x is equals to 1 over 2. We still need to find y, and we still need to find the gradient. Now, to find y, what we just do is substitute this x into the gx formula. So this will give you, so the y coordinate is 13 over 2. Now, to get the gradient, all we just need to do is substitute half again into the derivative, and that will give you 27 over 2. Now, with our x known, our y known, and our m known, we can substitute it into a straight line equation for us to find our equation of our tangent. And that will give us and your equation of your tangent would be y is equals to 27 over 2x minus 1 over 4. That's it.